the magic happens in the white space. So today I'm going to talk about what it would be like for you, and for all of us as entrepreneurs, what it would be like if you would have so much more white space in your calendar. A while ago I did an event for 800 entrepreneurs in Amsterdam, and I asked a question. Like, imagine if you would take 1 week off per month for the next year. Would you make more money or would you make less money? And 90% of all the hands were raised when it came to making more money. Imagine if every day you would take at least 2 days off for the next year. Would you make more money or would you make less money? And this is what we're going to talk about in this video, is that I think as entrepreneurs we need way more space and we are highly overscheduled. And because we're overscheduled, we are in this rat race and we're not really able to do our best work and we're not really able to do our best thinking. I'm not saying that you should be lazy, but I'm saying that you should have way more space as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you have to work in your business. We just have to. Sometimes you got to get in the business and do the things, but it's also very, very, very important to work on the business. You can be a builder, almost like a construction worker, no offense obviously, or you can be more like an architect. I heard this amazing saying, and I think it was about, or from Richard Branson, and it was, if you want to be a billionaire, you have to be willing to do nothing. And I've said this before, that as an entrepreneur, you are a work giver and not a work taker. You give work, so you have space to expand your business, but also expand your life. When I say the magic happens in the white space, it's not only about business, it's not only about improving your business and becoming a better entrepreneur, but also really have an amazing life. It's funny, as an entrepreneur, we are like wizards. Like, we can come up with something, think of something, and all of a sudden it's a reality. It's almost like magic. Are you comfortable with walking here at any? Yeah? Okay, so go ahead. So we're in Los Angeles right now. Check out the view, it's a bit foggy. Can you show downtown? It's the other way around. Can you show downtown? Oh, we can do it like this. This DJI is really cool, but so it's a beautiful view. We got the Hollywood sign over there. And I really love this place. So when I go to LA, I always try to go here and go for a little nice walk. So yeah, we as entrepreneurs, we are able to create a life that really is magical. But you can only create a magical life if you actually have a lot of white space in your calendar. If you have a lot of space to be able to make choices, usually in the moment. It's funny, I had a meeting with a friend of mine. She, I don't even know where she lives in the US, but every time when I go to the US, my intuition tells me like, she might be at the same place. So a couple days ago, I was in Phoenix, and I sent her a message like, hey, where are you? She's like, well, I'm in Phoenix. I was like, of course you're in Phoenix. I'm in Phoenix as well. Let's have breakfast together. And I've had that many times with her. And it's a strange way of intuition / serendipity. I truly believe that as entrepreneurs, we can have goals, we can really go for something, have like this North Star that you can focus on, but also really live and trust serendipity. Serendipity is basically luck, things that happen by sort of accident, but in the best way possible. And that's amazing. But there will be no serendipity, there will be no magic when you are overscheduled. Dan Sullivan said it so good. He says, overscheduled entrepreneurs, they can't perform. And I totally agree with that. And I should say, overscheduled entrepreneurs, they don't really have a shot at a magical life. Life is so much more than business. And for us, we can actually do almost anything. It's a magical thing. But are you aware of that? Are you aware of that, or are you accepting the fact that you're just busy and that life is hard and business is hard and all that stuff? Mindset is everything, and if you heard this 1,000 times before, that mindset is everything. And what do they actually mean with mindset is everything? Well, if you look at life from a perspective of it has to be hard and you have to struggle, it's going to be hard and then you have to struggle. But if you look at life as something that could actually become magical, then all of a sudden your mind will open and you'll see way more opportunities and way more possibilities. It's funny, you can charge, I would say, $40 an hour for something, or there's also people who charge like $500 per hour for sort of the same thing. It's all between the ears. Like, how do you think about yourself? How do you feel about yourself? And are you worthy of a magical life? But also, are you worthy, for example, of raising your prices and charging way more than other people would do? It's so funny, like in every market, there's somebody who's the most expensive, and there's also a lot of people who are the cheapest. And oftentimes we think it has to do with authority. We think it has to do with skill set. We think it has to do with a lot of those things, and actually, it has to do with a lot of those things. But most importantly, it has to do with how do you feel about yourself, but also realizing that life and business, it's just a game. And are you part of the game? Are you playing the game as somebody who is in the game? Or are you, as Oren Harris, my good friends would say, are you the game master as well? We're all playing the game, but I think if you decide to become the game master as well, then all of a sudden you define the rules and you create your rules. So going back to white space, if you have a couple hours a week available to do cool stuff, well, good luck with that. Good luck if you're overscheduled with your big thinking. Good luck with serendipity if you're overscheduled. Just good luck. It's going to be very, very hard. And what I wish every entrepreneur is to really clean up your schedule and create way more time for yourself and create way more time for people that are most important to you, but also activities that are most important for you. You can keep going. Do you want? Okay. So, going back to the question, imagine you having 1 day off per week or 2 days off per week or 1 week off per month. Would you make more money or would you make less money? And most of us actually would make more money if we're more well rested, if we have more space for bigger thinking, and if we have more space for creativity. Again, going back to what I said earlier, you can charge $50 an hour or $60 an hour, $40 an hour, or $500 an hour, or even $5,000 an hour. It's funny, one of the questions that I've been asking myself and I've been training a lot of people with as well is the acronym WEIPH, and it stands for what else is possible here. It's funny, a lot of people, especially in the Netherlands, they actually tattooed that acronym on their body because they don't want to forget about this question. And this question is the following. It is, what else is possible here? So you might be thinking, Eelco, you're crazy. Like, you're walking here in the hills and you're talking about like raising your prices from $50 to $5,000 or whatever. But imagine asking yourself the question, how could I 100x my prices? Our first response it'll be like, nah, impossible. Because I don't have the following, I don't have the credentials, I don't have all that stuff. But imagine if you would ask yourself the question, what else is possible here? And you think about this question for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes or maybe an hour or maybe a full afternoon. Imagine if you would keep asking yourself the question, okay, I want to raise my prices 100x. How do I do this? Or what would be available, or what are the possibilities? And then ask yourself the question, okay, well, maybe I should increase my authority. Okay, what else is possible here? Well, maybe I have to focus on getting different types of clients. Okay, what else is possible here? Well, maybe I could partner with a magazine where they do a full-page article about me. Okay, what else is possible here? Well, maybe I should advertise and just position myself as the big authority in my market. Okay, what else is possible here? Well, maybe if I launch a book it'll increase my authority. Okay, what else is possible here? Well, what if I would spend $1,000 per week on getting leads and then just qualify the top 1% of the leads and just have conversations with them instead of with just the people that know me right now? Okay, what else is possible here? Well, maybe I can work with influencers and I can get on their YouTube channel or maybe in their Instagram feed or whatever and position myself that way. Okay, what else is possible here? Well, maybe I have to create a new website that's just really focused on people that really want the highest level of service in my market. Okay, what else is possible here? Well, maybe I should just really go all in on LinkedIn. Maybe I should post every day and become the #1 influencer in my market on LinkedIn. Okay, what else is possible here? Like, this way of thinking, it's so valuable, but almost nobody does it because they think like, okay, 100xing your prices, it's just not doable. But imagine asking yourself the question all the time for a full afternoon, what else is possible here? And then all of a sudden you will get a lot of amazing answers. And that's where you want to live. That's where you want to spend a lot of your time, preferably on a weekly basis, maybe even on a daily basis, where you really look and ask yourself the question, what else is possible here? So we could do a viral where I just like, oh, there you go. Where's Deems? Did he go this way? We lost him? Okay, one man down. It's funny, I can't call him because he has my phones, but you can call him. But
I will send him our location.
Yeah, just do it when we're down. When we're down. So creating space, it's not just gives you a better life, but also it will actually give you more space to think about your business and get into a frequency of opportunity and possibility. And just being in the frequency of opportunity and possibilities, man, that's just everything. It's funny, I asked a question in my Telegram group a couple months ago, like, if you would... Okay, show the view, this is really phenomenal. Do I have to be in the screen otherwise? Because it's...
Yeah,
okay. So, if you would... And this is sort of counterintuitive, because in my last video I said do, you have to do more. But if you would spend more time thinking, and I'm not saying overthinking, but more like thinking in possibilities, would you make more money or less money? So if you would spend a lot of time thinking in possibilities, would you make more money or would you make less money? And so thinking not from a standpoint of worrying, but thinking from a standpoint of possibilities. And it's just funny, man. Like, sometimes all you need to do, and my good friend Dean Jackson, he talks about this as well, is oftentimes we're focused on action, on creating, on doing, but sometimes all you need to do is think a little bit differently and come up with a better idea. You can perfectly execute an okay idea, or you could execute an amazing idea just okay, and that is probably going to be 100 times worth more. It's going to probably be worth 100 times more. So it's all about possibilities, and it's impossible, like really impossible, to really think and feel all the possibilities whenever you are stressed out, whenever your schedule is just completely full. So that's the invitation. What can you do right now? What can you do right now to clean up your schedule? And I'll give you some ideas. The first one is something you probably don't want to hear, or maybe you've heard it 1,000 times, and you know this. This is nothing new for you. But the first thing is very tactical, and it's literally switching off the internet for multiple hours per day. And I call this internet fasting. I just released a book about internet fasting. I'll put the link in the description. And it's literally how, on a daily basis, do you not waste multiple hours a day by doom scrolling, checking your email or whatever. And you really decide to create space for yourself by not being online. So that's the first thing. Danny almost dies here. Me too. Living on the edge, right? Whoop, there we go. Kind of worried about Deans right now, Danny. But, yeah.
We can put it on pause.
Yeah, maybe we put it on pause. We'll go here, check out the view, put it on pause. Let's call our friend because he's behind us and he has an injury on his leg. He should definitely not do this route. So we'll show this view because it's really, really phenomenal. Put it on pause and then we'll continue because I've got some good ideas for you on how to create more white space. It's cool. In 3 days I'll be at Genius Network at the 100K meeting. It's a group of entrepreneurs. They all spend $100,000 per year to be in this group. And I'm actually going to talk about this, about white space. I'm going to give them a lot of ideas on how to create more white space. And I'm going to give you these ideas as well. But first check out the view and then we'll call and then I'll get back to you. So first one is internet fasting. Just switch off that internet. I have a lot of ideas around that. Check my other YouTube videos. I share a lot of ideas around this. Second one is literally clean up your calendar. So I'm helping a lot of entrepreneurs with creating more white space literally in their calendar. So if you, for example, have 6 days of meetings, I have this belief and also the experience that you could literally go from 6 days to 4 days in a very short amount of time. Sometimes literally weeks, sometimes let's say 2 or 3 months. But imagine if you have, let's say 1/3 less meetings, less meeting days in your calendar per week. What would it do for you? So for me, what I do, and it's funny, today is Monday actually, and I do all my meetings on Monday. And you know, a while ago I had a lot of meetings during the week. You know, a couple meetings here, a couple meetings there. I wasn't really overscheduled that much. But, you know, meetings almost every day. I had this rule that the mornings are mine, so I never do meetings in the morning. And so I never do meetings in the morning. But I had a lot of meetings in the afternoon, and I noticed with myself that it's hard for me to really get into flow. Because if you want to get into flow, for me, nothing has to be on my calendar. If I know that in 2 or 3 hours I have a 30-minute meeting, it doesn't really have, I don't really have the energy to really get into flow, because getting into flow takes a lot of time. And once you're into flow, you don't want to get out of flow. So just having one meeting in your calendar is already a recipe for not getting into flow. So imagine having 6 days of meetings per week, making the decision to schedule everything to 4 days. And there's a couple things you can do. So one is tactically really looking at your calendar and see which meetings do I really need to do, and can you simply delete meetings? Are they actually moving the needle? Are they actually inspiring to you? Are they actually helping you? Or is it like a commitment that you've made a while ago, maybe your former self, and you're still committed to your former self, but you know that you want to have more space for yourself, and you know the commitments you made in the past, they don't really serve you anymore. So could you make the quote-unquote hard decisions to simply cut out certain meetings? And you probably can, but maybe you're still loyal to your older self or the decision that your older self made. I always say that if you're willing to make the harder decisions, life will become way easier. But if cutting out meetings is too hard for yourself, you're too concerned about what people think, you're too concerned about the results and the impact it will have on your business or your finances or what people think of you, if you're overly concerned with that, then life will stay hard, and hard not in the best way possible. So step one is, can you simply decide to not do those meetings anymore? Step two is, if you have recurring meetings, let's say every week with a certain person or a certain team or whatever, would it be possible to change that weekly meeting to a bi-weekly meeting? So you simply cut it in half, the recurring meetings. So maybe you're a coach and you're mentoring entrepreneurs. I'm a coach and I'm mentoring entrepreneurs, and I do a weekly call. if my schedule was over scheduled, then I would consider maybe I should do a bi-weekly meeting. And it's funny, oftentimes when we cut our meetings in half, the people that we have meetings with, they're actually happy as well, because a lot of people, they don't want to do that many meetings. Or let's say you're in sales and you're closing deals yourself and you have like 12 or 16 calls per week. Could you look at those leads and could you see like, okay, can I maybe cut these appointments in half? That I pre-qualify even better and I only talk to the best leads possible. Like, can you cut your meetings in half? So, and I'm not saying can you cut the meetings, a time per meeting in half, that's what we're going next, but can you cut the amount of meetings in half? And oftentimes you simply can. And I would even invite you or challenge you even to see if you can also or delete those, or maybe can you cut those meetings into quarters. So for example, if you have a weekly meeting, change it to a monthly meeting. And there's also some ideas that I have for you to actually make this even more efficient and also make it even more valuable for all parties. So that's the second thing. Third thing is, can you do those meetings not live, not scheduled in your calendar, but can you do it through, for example, voice notes or Loom videos? So, for example, if you have a meeting about numbers, let's say you have a weekly meeting where you discuss the numbers of maybe your ads or maybe whatever it is, it's a numbers meeting. And you, on a Monday afternoon at 2 p.m., you go on this numbers meeting and you sit through the meeting and whatever, it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes. You ask some questions, you want them to show the numbers or whatever it is. Instead of doing the meeting, you could also ask the person who does the numbers, hey, can you make a Loom video for me? So on every Monday, I receive a Loom video from you. And this could be an ads meeting, like, where people show you stuff, just ask them to create a Loom video so you can actually watch a video instead of doing the meeting. And then you can respond through, for example, or a Loom video or maybe a voice note. One of the big things that I started doing, because I did I've been a mentor for a while for entrepreneurs, and in the Netherlands, I think I'm the highest paid mentor. It's 100,000 euros per year, and it's one monthly Zoom call. And I cut it out. I quit those meetings, and it's highly profitable meetings. Like one meeting is obviously worth a lot of money. But I noticed, for me, freedom is my core value. I want more freedom. I want more white space. What would it look like if I would cut out all those meetings and I would replace it with something else? Well, how are you going to replace a 100,000 euro client? Obviously they need your one-on-one time. So what I've done, and I'm very happy with this, is I replaced my one-on-one coaching / mentoring calls with voice notes. So instead of, on Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. we have a mentoring call, I might not be in the best mood on Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. Or they might not be in their best mood, or they might not really need our help on Thursday, 2 p.m. afternoon, but maybe they need my help on Monday afternoon. I just want to, do a transmission almost to me, where then I can download that transmission and listen to it and then co-create with them actually. So send them a voice note back instead of being in the moment with a Zoom call. And it's also very valuable. I mean, it's very valuable to have a one-on-one conversation, but it's also very valuable to create voice notes. And then you eventually create a library with your clients with a lot of valuable voice notes that they can listen to over and over and over again. And I ask my clients, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a monthly Zoom call with me, or would you rather have two really in-depth co-creations, two really in-depth voice notes per month, where whenever you feel like it, you can send me a voice note, and whenever I feel like it, I can respond to that voice note, and this way we create something really valuable together. And most of my clients were like, yeah, that's actually more valuable, because then they can send it to me whenever they're inspired or maybe troubled, and I can respond to them whenever I feel inspired. And this way, nothing is on my calendar, and I really, really, really like that. And So that's how you create more white space. Instead of doing meetings, do it through Loom or do it through voice notes. So it's asynchronous, and that's very, very valuable. So there's so many ways to create more white space for yourself. And if you then create more white space, then you have so much more freedom. And with that freedom and with that time freedom, you will have so much more time to get into flow, become way more creative, and actually become way more successful. You can come up with those amazing ideas that we talked about earlier, where let's say for 2 hours or 3 hours, you can just journal new ideas and just pick the best idea. From that best idea, you can really go to another level with your business, but also with your life. Because, you know, business is important, and I say this more often lately. Business is important, but not really. Like eventually, what's most important? You got the business and you got the entrepreneur. I think the entrepreneur is way more important than the business. However, you need to have a solid business, a successful, profitable business before, so you can actually have an amazing life. But I wish for every entrepreneur that they actually can create that amazing life for themselves. I started this video with the phrase that we as entrepreneurs, we are like magicians. We can come up with something and all of a sudden it is real. And to be that magician, to really have that magical life almost, you really, really, really need a lot of space. And if you have that space, then you can come up with better ideas. And guess what? If you are more happy, if you are more relaxed, if you are more creative, your business will go to another level. But if you're stressed out and your schedule is overscheduled, and you know, it's really going to be hard to go to that other level. So what I wish for you is to make that decision to really embrace the idea that the magic really happens in the white space. Commit to cleaning up your calendar, commit to taking more time for yourself, be way more creative. And yeah, that's what I wish for you. One of the best ways to do this is to really have amazing people around you, like build an amazing team of A players. And I created a really cool video where I exactly explain how I find A players, how I attract them. And this way, if you work with the best people ever, you know, you have so much more white space and they can build your business and grow your business to the next level. So I created a really cool training about this. You can click it somewhere here in the screen. I would highly suggest you check that video out and also leave a comment. I really appreciate that. See you in another video.